supposed to start this year.
Yes.
This year. It'll probably be March before they start, because it's going to warm
Is
up.
there ever gonna be pool?
No.
That went to fall, huh?
Yeah, my husband used to go. Children lifeguard.
I don't even know anything about out at the golf course.
They
Is
went
it the old pool?
whenever.
I mean, even if there's nothing is out there.
I think everybody's about finished with the food, and we're going to go ahead and get started. I don't want to keep you here very long tonight. I'd like for everybody at this time, please stand and let's say the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody just be seated. I left my hand out on the Republican Creed. So for simplicity, I'll just read it so that we take care of it. The South Carolina Republican Creed. I do not choose to be a common man. It is my right to be uncommon. If I can seek opportunity, not security, I want to take calculated risks to dream and build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to barter incentive for dollar. I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed security, the thrill of fulfillment to the stale calm of utopia. I will not trade freedom for benevolence, for my dignity, for a handout. I will never cower before any master save my God. It is my courage to stand erect, proud, and unafraid, to think and act for myself, enjoy the benefit of my creations, to face the whole world boldly and say, I am a free American. And the program now, y'all got some handouts. I hope everybody picks up each one of these handouts. A lot of very valuable information. We're going to try and go over this stuff hurriedly tonight, just so you know about some important dates and the elections that are coming up, both in the county and also statewide in our federal offices and stuff. But William's got a little program, something he's been working on, some ideas he's been talking to people about. He wants to share that with you very briefly. I think it's a survey or something, but I'm going to let him explain it to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is William Embley. I happen to be the youngest member here, and thus I have actually been hitting the pavement, talking to a lot of people, trying to bring in new people into the group, trying to make sure that we have another generation to keep this party going. For 150 years, as you guys know, this has been pretty much Democrat territory. Only way we're going to do it is find out what motivates people to get out there. I'm sure, as you guys know, over in McCall, you had a special election that was an 8-vote differential to allow Outlaw to win. 8 votes. That's a very small number. That is heading to the bar, grabbing a couple of drinks, talking to people. You could swing that. 9 people could have gone a completely different direction. So with that being said, I've actually been able to kind of distill everything down to 5 major points that have people politically motivated. First and foremost, schools. We know that we've had a $6.8 million deficit, that they wanted to raise taxes, and we ended up having to have the state of South Carolina come in and take over, get rid of a superintendent. Fantastic, but it still doesn't change the fact that there's an underlying problem, which is a spending problem. It's not an income issue, it's spending. So, how do we fight back against this? Well, first and foremost is know what your opponent is talking about. The Democrats have already pretty much stated from their State House report article from today, you're more welcome to go look it up, that the Senate Minority Leader, Brad Herrero, said the constitutional obligation to provide a quality education is actually on the state, not the county. We devolve that responsibility down to the district. In some cases that's worked, but in others, there just aren't enough resources. Now, we spend the most in administrative in this Marlboro County. We have 85, 87 administrators who are just sitting there collecting a check. Yet we pull in $31,000 per student, and there's less than 3,200 students in the county. Where's the money going? It's a very simple question. Where is it going? Because we're last in education in every single part. We're not producing graduates. We're not producing full ride scholarships. We're not producing football stars. So we're spending money and we're not getting anything from it. So we need to push this to, guess what? Accountability. Yeah, we do want to have local governance in our school boards, but we need to push that. We need to be accountable first. Jasper County just came off of 10 years of the state coming in there and running it. They are now fiscally responsible and they're having results. We need to push that. Vernon has some plans that he wants to push. Okay, let's hear him out, and we need to make sure that we get the message out there that we're not sitting there trying to take away power. We're trying to make sure we're accountable and we know where our money's going. The next thing, big thing that everyone likes to talk about here, is the legal and political conflict involving law enforcement leadership. A lot of people are talking about that Charles Lemon filed a suit against the current, Sheriff Larry McNeil and the former Deputy Trevor Murphy and the current Chief Deputy Larry Turner and former Clerk of Court Anita Williams. They see this as law enforcement not getting along, that it's becoming politicized, and that they're focusing on other things besides pushing down. We have seen a string of shootings. We have seen a string of robberies. I mean, I'm sure we all saw last week that they were looking for someone who robbed a convenience store, and no one knows who it is. Well,
He was on the arrested today.
They arrested him today.
okay, but the fact
Arrested 2 boys today. They're in jail right now.
But the fact is that why is this going on? Because we don't have a police presence. We had McCall, the whole entire police force walked off. This is what they see. So we need to come in and be like, no, we're the party of law and order. We're going to start pushing this back. We're going to start going after the petty crime. I mean, I work over at Carly C's. I have seen same people come in and shoplift over and over and over again. That makes all of our food prices go up. That makes it harder for us to be able to get what we want. How many times have we gone to Walmart now and seen basic items locked behind? We have to go wait somebody to go get a key, to go get an item that we should be able to grab. It's because we're letting them out with time served, with, oh, just pay a little fine and move about your day. We can't allow that anymore. All right, we had SLED having to come in and investigate the former mayor McCall. These are all things that push people to be like, yeah, I don't know who I can trust because this is what we've had. All right. Then we have the economic development and job creation. Now, the only thing we really have to say right now is Bennisville Printing is expanding operations. We need to be talking about how we can get these factories that are now derelict back up and running, how we can bring people back in, how we can bring economic development. These are things that we need to be going out there and be like, hey, we're the party that wants this. You've had 150 years rule and nothing to show for it. You want change? Well, come join us. Come pay the dues. Come in here. We got to get out there and we got to start motivating ourselves and motivating the base. We can come in here and talk and go through the motions, but who's out there talking? Are we online? Drew McKissick wants us online, talking about it, getting it up there, posting it. We're in a new age of politics where you're not just going to be able to rely on the media. We need to be out there talking to people. We need to be online saying, hey, vote for this person because of this, this, and this. Engage in the discussion. These are the things that I just walking around, talking to regular people, hanging out, talking to the younger crowd. These are the things that they're talking about. They're just, all they see is a lot of infighting and nothing getting done. So, clear plan, clear motivation, and a constant message. It has been working for 150 years under one rule. Let's switch over to another. That's basic it.
What did he investigate the mayor of McCall about?
Well, you know, Caroline won the city seat by 8 votes as well. The last election here in Bennettsville.
And that's, I mean, we all know at least 10 people.
Running against a guy that had a write-in candidacy. He didn't want to spend the money to become on the ballot.
But that shows how much word of mouth is. The fact that a write-in candidate can even get to 8 votes,
8 votes.
he didn't want to spend the money. Now imagine if he spent the money. That means he already had enough of a political platform that people were talking about it. That shows that word of mouth is still the most valuable way. This is a local election, means your neighbor, the person across the street, your church, those are the places you're going to need to go and talk. And they know it will become uncomfortable, you're going to get called things. But the fact is that if a write-in candidate can squeeze in by 8, that shows that's the way to go.
I appreciate that, William. Regarding voting in Marlboro County, last June, statewide turnout was 13.5%. Lieutenant Governor, who y'all know I've been working with her for about 5 months, so she brings that up at every stop we do. 13.5% of the people in South Carolina voted in the June primary of 2024. Now, Marlboro County, even though our turnout was not where we would all like to see it, we voted 37%. We voted 2.5 times what the state average was. But we've still got a lot of work to do to get people to voting and take an interest in the election. But you know, Newby Kissick always said, you got to have good candidates. You got to have good candidates to run that will bring people out. You can do all the social media and advertising and TV ads and all you want, but if you're a poor candidate, no matter how you dress you up, people are not going to go support you. You've got to have a message that people want to hear that's going to change. Sitting around the table at night, they're listening to whatever, Lieutenant Governor or Attorney General Wilson, whoever. They've got to say something that, that would help me in my life. Mr. Jim, and sitting around the table at night and stuff. They want somebody that's going to affect their everyday lives. But anyway, the first handout I want everybody to look at, I'm just going to briefly go down these things. This is the 2026 election. This came from the Marlboro County Voter Registration Office. Thursday, January 1st, that was the first day that anybody that is over 65 years old, disabled, that literally can't get out of the house, they can go ahead and then we've already started. They can order their absentee application for the June 9th primary, Republican. And what we want to do as a party, there's 3 things you have to tell people. We want them to order an application to vote Republican in the June primary, and you also got to tell them that you want them to tell them you want a runoff ballot in case there's a runoff. And the reason being, right now the poll that Robert Cahaley, my good friends from the Trafalgar group, he released a poll yesterday. That's his 3rd poll. And I don't know how many of y'all know who Robert Cahaley is. 2016, he was the only person in America that predicted that Donald Trump was going to win. He's from Columbia, went to USC. But his poll came out yesterday. Lieutenant Governor Everett is a little bit over 2 points ahead of Attorney General Wilson. And that's not a whole lot of margin. So more than likely, Attorney General Wilson and Pam Everett, if things stay the way they're going, those 2 will be in a runoff 14 days after the June 9th primary. I think that one individual, Senator Kilmore, I think he'll fall out. Ralph Norman's polling about 8%. Nancy Mace is polling about 13%. So they won't make it. You got to have 50% plus 1 vote in order for there not to be a runoff. And so, but anyway, they need to tell people they want a Republican ballot for the June election and a runoff ballot for any runoff, and they want the general election ballot, which is November the 3rd. And what it does, say, I want to do one for some family member of mine, they will be covered for the whole year. They'll get 2 applications in the mail, they sign them, send them back in, and then all they'll be waiting on is sometime around May the 1st, they'll start mailing out absentee ballots to vote by mail. We need to really work on that and get as many, because we all know people in here that are disabled or just physically cannot get to the poll. We need to capitalize on those people. And I've capitalized on them over the years. 8 years ago, my opponent, same opponent had 4 years ago, the vote totals was 805 to like 397. But out of my 805, 405 were absentee ballots. But I've been doing these things a long time. I have a strong backing from the senior citizen community in the town of McCall and in my district. 50% of my votes were absentee votes. And that is extreme, but I've been doing it a long time, probably better than anybody in the state. I'm not bragging, but you won't find anybody in the state that 50% of their vote totals is absentee vote. But you can see you can create a lot of people that would not vote if they couldn't vote absentee. The candidate filing, the partisan offices, which is Republican and Democrat, the books open on March the 16th at noon, and they close on March the 30th. And if you drop down, and we won't put a lot of time on this, the school board, those are nonpartisan elections. They don't declare it as a Democrat or a Republican, which I think that needs to be changed. The people who spend the most money, the people that take the most tax money from it, all they sign up for is Bird Odom, Jim Chapel. You don't know whether they're Democrat or Republican, unless you really know the person. But anyway, I think the school board should be partisan elections. I think people ought to know, particularly somebody that takes 69 cents out of every dollar of tax money you pay in Marlboro County. We ought to know where they bury a livable person who's going to spend every dime they can get the money. But anyway, if you look at it, the chairman in District 2, 3, 5, 7, and 8. We have 5 districts in the school board that's coming up, but that won't come up until, they won't sign up until actually August, so that's not right on the forefront right now. But what I will tell you, I mentioned it to William, about 3 or 4 months, I've been working naturally with Ellen Weaver, the Superintendent of Education, but me and Jackie Hayes have been working on something else for Marlboro County. Dillon County has a appointed school board, 7 members. They don't get paid. Now, talking with Jackie, and me and him and Jason Luck and JD have been talking about it, I told him I don't think we need to do it non-paid. I think I have been in the school system since May the 19th when they announced they were going to consolidate. That is a pretty tough job. And we've had some pretty tough people that have been in that thing for the last. That's the reason we're $6.8 million in the hole when they announced it on May the 19th. But what we've come up with is to combine the districts, 2 districts, like McCall and Clyde, will be 1 school board district. Bennettsville, East, West, South would be 1. Wallace, Blacksburg, which crossroad, that would be. What it amounts to, we're proposing to have 4 elected school board districts in Marlboro County and 3 appointed by the legislative delegation, which would be Jackie Hayes, Jason Love, and J.D. Chapman. That would give us a total school board of 7, just like Dillon County. But it wouldn't be an elected chairman like Mr. Coachman. Them 7 members, whoever they are, those 3 appointed and the 4 that are elected, they would pick a chairman from their group. Somebody like a Nicky Pruitt would be an ideal choice if I was picking. But anyway, that's what we're working on, and all we've got to do in Columbia is Jack and them get that passed through the legislation, and Jack is 3rd in seniority. I think if we want to go that route, we don't have to have a referendum, we don't have to have a citizen referendum or anything. We can change the whole school board around and go down from 9 members down to 7. 3 of them will be appointed, 4 will be elected. And it makes sense.
What are the chances of that passing? I think it's a good chance of getting that through, not only the House, but the Senate.
Yeah, I'm sure Jack will have the votes to do it. We don't have to have a referendum or anything. He can just say, that, you know, we think it's in the best interest of our, particularly with all this fraud and stuff going, and we ain't seen the fraud yet. The Inspector General is still over there every day investigating, and they harp about what's got Tom's and them harp about that audit that they got the other week. That was not a forensic audit. That was just an audit of the stuff that Taylor and them gave them. The forensic audit is what the Inspector General was doing. And believe me, Jefferson County, I know a lot about that. I know everything that went on down there. I knew the day when they announced it, that people were going to go to jail. And Jefferson County didn't have half of the fraud and stuff that Marlboro County had. So they may think they've got away with a lot of stuff. No, there's going to be some people that will eventually get indicted in the school board. Not school board, but in the education system.
What were those groups? Name, you said Cloud and McCall.
I'm just using that.
Oh, okay.
You'd combine the districts to where you would have like 2 to 3 districts would be one school board member rather than, and what you're getting to is would leave 4 positions elected, and then Jackie Hayes and JD and Jason Love with recommendations from people like us will say, you know, Al Clark, former member of the school teacher, he'd make a good person to be appointed. He knows a lot about schools. He'd be appointed by the legislative delegation.
I'll send you that.
Huh?
I'll send you that. I'll send it.
Well,
That's needed.
well, they're in session now. They just started on January 13th. So probably if they could get it passed, it probably wouldn't go into effect until next year. You know, we're probably looking at these seats that are running now, the 5 of them, and a chairman running it again. You know, we haven't talked because they've had so much going on since I got back into sessions and stuff. But no, I don't think you could physically get it passed because they've got to go ahead and start planning for the school board elections.
Yeah, but I don't think you need to wait for that. The house taxes come out of the town, gets to the school.
Oh yeah, we've been working on this thing since
Well, we
we
really need to try to get the people to run for the school board so that they may be better prepared to be appointed.
That's right. That's exactly right. You know, we got 5 seats coming up in the chairman. We need to be running 5, 6 capable people for those seats.
These districts, do you know, like, where's District 2, where's District 3?
No, I know Nikki's district. I think it's 3 or 2 or 3. She's got it right. Yeah, I'm not sure who they all are. District 8 is Clive. That's the band. District 8 is Evander. 7 is Danny Griggers. I think 3 is Nikki. 2 would be somebody up in that Wallace area, whoever that is. That would be Mr. Sweat. Mr. Sweat's got to run. So it'd be Mr. Sweat, Nikki, Evander and Clive, Danny Griggers, and number 5 is somebody around Bennettsville, somebody, one of those districts over there.
2-year seats.
Huh?
2-year seats.
2-year seats? Is it 2
2
year?
year.
The 2-year seats?
They're 4-year terms.
Has Nick been on there 4 years? 4 years. Isn't that on the biggest? I swear on somebody's.
Anyway, I'm going down this thing so I don't keep y'all here all night. If you look down the voter registration, the June primary, a person can get registered up to May the 8th. If you know somebody that's not registered to vote, they have until May the 8th to get registered. I've got 250 registration forms if anybody needs any, that they know somebody that's not registered to vote. Of course, you can do it online through May the 10th, and you can mail it as long as the postmark's on May the 11th. The early voting for the June primary is May 26th through the 29th, and June 1 through 5. That'll be 2 weeks of it. That's a statewide election, and you'll be voting for governor, attorney general, controller general, secretary of agriculture. I've got all the officers on the other sheet. And the Marlboro County voter registration, of course, in the primary, the courthouse will be open, right? Courthouse will be open for the June early voting. And it'll be open from 8:30 until 5. And then the general election, which is in November, and we won't get into that now, other than make sure that if you get somebody who wants to do absentee ballot, that they go ahead and tell them they want an application for the November election too.
Just a quick question, since, we're talking about getting people to register and so forth. I've noticed we missed like a couple opportunities to be able to go to like the Clio Cotton Festival, set up a booth, to be able to go to like various festivals or public functions and set up a booth. Don't you think this would be a good time for us to organize, get to these festivals, get to these different places, get our message out there, and register people, and get them to bring their friends to register? I think this is a great opportunity to run on the coattails of, we're going into a midterm. We need to make sure we're protecting what seats we have, maybe gain one or two, and help, strengthen our presence in the state, local, and even federal. Is there a possibility we would be able to do that?
Yeah, you can set up a booth, any kind of festival that anybody's having, or so they won't be coming to in the spring, you'll start seeing more festivals around. And you can set up a booth at the festival and just be a registration booth and get people to come by. Just ask them, are you registered to vote? They said no, so how about let me get you registered then?
What about a search committee?
Uh,
Maybe we can get a group of us together and get an idea of who would be great. One, where these candidates are coming from, what district. We have the voter rolls. We could go through and find people we think might be a good choice and start fielding some options to the executive committee to, find out who's out there, who's willing to step up.
Yeah, like I said, you got to, like everywhere else, you have to recruit good candidates and stuff,
But we don't. If we don't put a search committee together, how do we get the candidates? They're not going to, we don't need any more write-ins. And then secondly, how are we going to back them as a party? What can we do to say, okay, if you would consider running, you're going to have blank behind you. And we'll, promote you at this and that and this, whatever's coming up.
Well, the primaries would be the 4 county council seats. Those would be the partisan elections. School boards are not partisan.
No, there's no such thing as partisan when you have voter rolls. How did they vote last time? If they vote Democrat, then they're Democrats. Just look them up. It's going to show how they voted.
You get the vote. We get the voting record on everybody that votes in the county for the last 5 or 10 years.
I have them.
We have them. We've already gone through, broken them down by city, by county,
by district, by line,
I can
by line.
I can even go through and tell you who voted in what elections and how they voted.
We get all that stuff out of Columbia. I get it all out of Columbia anyway. Yeah, but and of course that's what we've been going over yesterday in Columbia, the partisan election, trying to get it passed and get it out of committee, and of course it failed. They didn't get it out of committee. So it's probably done for this year, Everybody wants partisan elections, We want people to be registered as Republicans and vote in the Republican primary. We don't want Democrats jumping over in our primaries and say Lindsey Graham race. They want Democrats don't have a candidate to run against Lindsey Graham. So they would jump in the Republican primary and vote for the weakest candidate that they think they could win, so they could run somebody against that. But that's not the problem. It's a moot point. I've been involved in this thing, and we've been involved in this Republican Party now for about 6 years. South Carolina was a Republican state. Democrats are not going to make any headway at all in these major elections and stuff.
Except for Marlboro County.
Right.
We need to change that because we live here.
But when you look at Marlboro County, 150 years of Democratic rule, last November we elected 3 Republicans, came close to electing 3 more. Out of the 7 seats that were running, we came close to electing 6 of the 7. Sterling lost by 340 votes, Patty lost by 201, and Danny Griggs lost by 185. So that's still, for a county that for 150 years was Democrat, people were amazed, and nobody would have thought that we could unseat Joe Malloy and Pat Hennigan. Pat Hennigan didn't run last time because she knew she couldn't win. Joe Malloy would have never, God's green earth, have ever thought J.D. Chapman, who he had been beat by 3,000 votes the first time against Hennigan. He got beat by like 800 or 900, 1,200 when he ran in the lower last
You
time.
learned well, didn't you?
Huh?
You learned well, didn't you?
Hey, but Gerald Malloy just would have never thought, even the people in Columbia and people like down the beach, Jimmy Richardson, the 15th district solicitor down in Myrtle Beach, he saw me in Washington several months ago and said, how in the world in Marlboro County did y'all go together and beat Gerald Malloy? We thought he would just retire. It's because the attitude of people has changed. More people will vote Republican. In the first voting 2022, when we put election integrity in, Marlboro County led the PD in early voting. Out of 1,183 people that voted Republican, 244 were black people that requested absentee ballot, and requested a Republican ballot. So even the minorities are voting Republican. And you would have never, 10 years ago, you probably had Alan's been involved in a long time. 10 years ago, you would have had a couple hundred people voting in a Republican primary. So
Were
it's
they
changed.
voting for President Trump? Were they voting on President Trump?
They actually walked up to the stairway in the back of the courthouse and introduced themselves to me after I talked to them. And they said, aren't you guys over the Republican Party? I said, yeah. I said, well, won't tell you, me and my wife came up here to do two things, vote for President Trump.
But he's not running again, so we need, there's no other magic pill. President Trump opened the doors for us. Now we have to walk through and recruit these people in, and the Democrat Party that they knew with, I hate to say it, Bill Clinton, he was the last conservative Democrat. The rest of them have gone wacky, and those are not the Democrats of Marlboro County. Sorry, Marlboro County is still a religious-based area. And if you believe in God and country, you can't vote a Democrat wacko anymore. So now he opened the door, let's bring him in.
But the other thing besides President Trump, though, the fact that the Democrats have ruined that party for even a lot of pretty sensible blacks.
But, Bert, I can tell you 100% on my life, the Marlboro County Democrat Party is whipping our butts being out there. I get inundated with I'm on their mailing list, I'm on their Facebook pages. They're always out there, and we're nowhere. Where were we for Martin Luther King Day? Where? Crickets. We weren't there. We need to be out there. With your permission, let us go out. Let us get these people in.
I'm all for what you're saying and stuff, but it's kind of disrespectful in what you're saying though about this county being Democrat. Donald Trump, 11,000 people, 10,000 people voting last November. He came in 248 votes on winning the county. Russell Fry did win the county. So the Democrats are not beating us. And Pat Hennigan did not run as a Democrat because she knew she could not win. She knew she probably wasn't going to beat Sterling. That's why she didn't win. So we're moving in the right direction, whether it's not fast enough for y'all or what. But like I said, nobody in the state would have ever thought that Marlboro County put Gerald Malloy out of Columbia.
So you're saying it's okay for us to get into these festivals, get into these events. If there's something going on downtown, let's have, how many people would go and spend 2 hours behind a Republican banner and say, come on out and see us. This is when our meetings are. What is it that you're looking for in a party?
I understand what you're saying. I agree. There's got to be a presence.
Yeah, and we don't have any. Now, as far as the people that have been elected, I have no problem with Russell. He's great. We have good people, but they need us too. They need us to back them up too.
And along with what you said, the last 5 festivals, which that Festival McCall has, is probably about the biggest festival in the county. We have been represented there 5 or 6 times out of the last 7 years on that festival day. Had a booth set up that day. Clio, we've come down here twice at the Cotton Festival and set up. So our party has been out contacting people and setting up at these festivals and stuff.
But we need to continue and be, you know.
It's a consistent presence, and we need to make sure that we're not missing anything falling through the cracks. We want to be out there, and then you want to make sure that you take pictures of it, you take video of it, post it, keep a presence. Like, if you see these emails and so forth, the Democrats have a 5 to 10 step plan to go everything from young voters to older voters, just like here with absentee. We cannot let them gain a single step ahead of us.
And then, as you said, and they're evidently losing ground to us as it is.
Right.
Everything you say they're doing, they're losing ground to the Republican Party in Marlboro County.
There's a kink in the armor, let's exploit it. Because once we can crack it and people start seeing, wait, there's a better alternative, they're going to come. So we just, just like Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. Well, we need to build it. We need to build that presence. We need to build that consistency. We need to build off of the results that we've gotten. We need to be there. We got to, as she said, a search party, find the right candidates. As you said, we can't just field any Joe Blow Schmo. We got to make sure we have the right people out there. We have the right messaging. We're in lockstep with our messaging. What are we here for? What are we trying to do? And I think the main thing is that we need to also go in here as well, get more and more people so we can organize and consolidate and find out. Like, this took, just me going out there talking to regular people every day. I was able to sit there and be like, well, these are the things people are talking about at the kitchen table.
Not only that, we need God back in our life.
Yeah.
And with everything, look at New York. We can't have a world of Muslims running a Judeo-Christian society, which our Constitution is based on. We must bring God back to them, and they have to understand that we are a party that is of God. I mean, they're Baptists, most of them, Southern Baptists, Episcopal, whatever they are, they're Christians. And we have to let them know that we are too.
Appreciate it. Like I said, let's get on with this thing, but I know y'all want to be here all night. If you look at the federal officers, of course, and state officers, of course, in South Carolina, Governor, Secretary of State, State Treasurer, Attorney General, Comptroller General, Superintendent of Education, Commissioner of Agriculture, which is very important to the farmers in Marlboro County. Senator Graham's running. All 7 of your congressional seats, 1 through 7, Russell Fry, our 7th District Congressman, he'll be running. He's got opposition already on the Democrat side particularly. If you look at Marlboro County, the county officers, probate judge is auditor. As of a week ago, that lady announced she's not going to run for re-election. The county council districts are 1, 4, 7, and 8. And one is Jason Steen and Wallace. 8 is Anthony down here. 7 is Steve Blackman, and 4 is Pearlie Thomas in Venusville. And the school board, we've gone over that. And then the rest of that flyer, the green one, is just rehashing what was on the front thing about the early voting and the statewide primaries. And I think that's about it. So right now, the big thing we got to do between now and May the 8th or whatever is this absentee voting. We need to be getting as many people as we can to sign up to get their applications for the 2 elections and possibly a runoff. Because those are votes that nobody's going to get. And probably nobody will get them but us. Now the Democrats, they do their little thing, but the election integrity pretty much took care of them on the absentee ballot. Because the only way they could do them was crooked. So, and the reason I know they were crooked is because in 2020, Pat Hennigan and Gerald Lloyd's absentee votes in Marlboro County was 4,506. In 2022, the very first election after Governor McMaster signed that bill into force a month before the election, Pat Hennigan's Malloy didn't run because that was a 4-year term. Pat Hennigan ran. Her absentees went to 418. You telling me her votes went from 4,500 to 418 with absentee voting. No, they couldn't do it away because it's a felony, 5 years in jail, and lose your right to vote. And let's see what one other guidelines on it. It's a felony, 5 years in jail, $5,000 fine, and you lose your right to vote. Yeah. So the Democrats are pretty much out of the absentee voting. That's how JD beat Malloy too. Malloy didn't have 4,000 absentee ballots. So. But the early voting, they figured that thing out. I mentioned this to people in Columbia too. They started hauling it. That's the reason McNeil and won so big. And then Charles ran. Charles should have won that election. Charles was the most qualified person, I'm sure. But McNeil had like 2,500 early votes. And they were hauling the absentee voters up there, you know. But anyway, does anybody else have any questions about the dates or times or what? I understand where y'all are going from and what you're talking about. But the big thing, like I said now, is get as many people to vote absentee as we can and start looking for candidates to run in these four county council seats. Well, not necessarily looking for anybody, but there's 4 county council seats open, and then these countywide officers. That's the thing we need to, like I said, we need to be concerned with Marlboro County. So we do have some countywide officers that we need to run somebody in those offices. We don't just need to hand them over to the Democrat. We don't have any Republicans. Mike Birch is not running, so he's safe in the 4th district's list for. I'm not running, and JD's not running. So we got our 3 incumbents in Marlboro County. We don't have to run this time, and so if we get somebody, they'll be running in an open seat. You know, Mr. Chappie, got anything on that? Or? Has anybody got a question or anything you don't quite understand? Anyway, the next meeting will be, I think it's February 17th. That's the 3rd Tuesday. That'll be back on Tuesday. They had a conflict at the fire department, the reason we didn't go there, and Mr. Wendy, we needed to try and get back over here and support him, and it's just got a great place. And more than likely, I'll try and have a couple of speakers from now through May at each meeting. We got a lot of people.
February 17th at 6:30?
Huh?
6:30.
6:30. And the reason we moved it up to 6:30 was people at work, it gives you a little bit more time to get home and get changed and make the meeting. But like I said, I will publish, I will recruit 2 people to come at the next meeting. I don't know who it'll be, maybe the guys running fraternity on the Republican side, one of them. At some point in time, I want to get Lieutenant Governor down here. She's been here. We started that 46 county tour, started in Marlboro County with the farm corps down at Ann and Stephen Eagles Farm. Nobody's got any questions? Yes, sir.
Do we have application to become a member of the Republican Party and pay our dues? We haven't paid dues in a couple of years.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about that in February. Somebody else had asked me. We'll just start over in February. I'm sure that everybody is past time. I've had some people that I think paid last year, early in the year. So in February, we'll just start collecting dues again.
Do we know what they're going to do?
Hmm?
The amount? Do we know what the amount?
$20 a couple.
Oh, I thought the person.
Hmm?
I thought it was 20 a person.
No, it's $10 a person.
We'll
$10 a person and $20 a couple.
Oh, okay.
We'll take it.
Appreciate everybody coming.